Hey y'all, today we've got Erin Davis. Erin is a playwright, dramaturg, and theater administrator up in Boston. Yes, Erin is a theater person, the first theater person that we've had on. I love learning about the process of writing a play, but also what goes into producing a DIY play and what kind of DIY community exists around theater. Is it as strong as a DIY music community? We also obviously got into Erin's Mixtape, which was amazing. And we also played One for the Road at the end, where you will find out a very strange food preference that we both have. As always, if you want to support, you can do so at tapeclub.substack.com. All right, here is my conversation with Erin. Erin Davis, welcome to the show. Stoked to have you. You are our first theater person that we've ever had on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. My partner and a few other people that I'm friends with have been on the show before, so I am just so thrilled to talk with you today about how music and the world of theater have influenced my life.
Yeah, and so I was telling you before we started, this is going up in late April, and I'm looking at my schedule right now. The episode that's supposed to go up after this, that person also has theater ties. So are we becoming a theater podcast?
I hope so. I think like all of the arts are so interconnected and everything is just so influenced by each other that it's like, it's just art, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're going to actually have a question about that and how it relates to Brighton and Alston and all that, the whole community there. We'll get to it. I want to start with your bio. On your bio, it says, on your bio on your website, it says you are a playwright and a dramaturg, but you're also a fried green tomato enthusiast. What does that mean? Is that a Georgia thing? What is that?
So a fried green tomato is kind of like a Southern delicacy. You basically just like take a green tomato and you fry it up, and it's kind of the best thing in the world. But I always have that in my bio because I just love to cook, and I feel like the art and culture of the South are just so like ingrained in my identity as like a place for community, like coming to the communal table, like bringing your favorite dishes, your favorite things that you think about to conversation. So a fried greens enthusiast is kind of like my artistic statement, I guess. I love when things are kind of weird, but somehow they work.
I love it. I feel like there was a book growing up. It might have been like a Beverly Cleary book called Fried Green Tomatoes, but I don't really know if that's the case. But I grew up in North Florida, so very close to Georgia. So I know what a fried green tomato is. I was just teeing you up. I wanted to give you that on-ramp to the South. The South is a very strange place, but it is also very redeeming in a lot of ways. There is a lot of cool art because you kind of have to make your own place to make it. And so maybe that's a great place to start. I wanted to ask what first drew you to theater, and how did that early passion shape the stories you want to tell?
Totally. I feel like I grew up around a lot of bullshitters, as you know, the South is full of. I come from a long line of storytellers and exaggerators and, you know, late night partiers where every day is it's a movie. When they say every day is a movie, they're talking about my family. And so I feel like I originally started out in dance. I was an Irish dancer as a child. Which kind of got me into liking being in the spotlight and just, you know, talking to random people and going to different conventions and stuff. And I got into theater because I was so bad at sports in sixth grade that the only class that I could take that wasn't PE was theater. And so I was kind of like, I guess this is like my calling. And I kind of found a place there where, you know, I really enjoyed getting to pretend to be like something that wasn't my everyday. I really enjoyed getting to be in the big leagues with other exaggerators. And I feel like it kind of just became second nature to me to like become a storyteller and hang out. And I have always loved like making new friends. And I feel like people that I was meeting through theater were just kind of like, yeah, like, let's like go like hang out and just like make something weird, or like, let's make a weird movie and like, like show it to everyone we know. And so I've kind of always just enjoyed that kind of free flowing nature of, the theater world and being amongst the theater people.
So with theater, if we're going really big picture, there's like the actors and then there's the tech, the crew, whatever, the behind the scenes people. Which camp did you fall into, or do you kind of do it all?
I definitely started out as more of an actor. I went to a performing arts high school in Georgia, and I did a lot of acting then, but I also did a lot of stage management, which is kind of the like organizational, making sure everything runs smoothly, like kind of wrangling position in the theater world. And so I have always loved, being really organized and being very methodical and like planning things out. And so I feel like playwriting kind of became the thing that, and dramaturgy kind of became like the two things that I like ended up marrying the differences between the two. Like the world of technical theater is so beautiful because it's just creativity in like a different form. Like I feel like to be an actor, you kind of have to be, thinking on your feet and like building this character and like imagining all these different things. But to be like a designer or a producer or somebody that handles the more technical aspects of theater, like it's the same deal. It's just like, I have to like do the measurements and also like build the sets and like design the lights. But the amount of creativity, it's like speaking two different languages. And then like the common thing is kind of the production or the art piece that you're working on. So I've always like loved to move between the worlds because I think the more you work in both, the better you speak the language of theater and art in general.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I mean, I work in film and I mostly work in post-production, and it's very similar. Post-production is its own world, when you're on set, again, totally different language. And sometimes you can feel a little lost, just like people on set can feel a little bit lost in post.
Yeah.
You mentioned, dramaturgy. So I had that later, but let's just jump into that because it is kind of interesting to me. So playwright, performer, and dramaturg. First of all, what is a dramaturg for those who may not know?
I feel like this is the hardest thing for me to explain because this is what my family also asks me like every Christmas. Like, when you say you're doing this, like, what exactly do you mean? And I feel like the best way to kind of describe it is like being a playwright's best friend in a way. So the dramaturg usually spends a lot of time working with playwrights to help them better understand the script. Because, when you're in the sauce, you're like writing away, you're just including everything you want to include, but having that kind of outside critical eye to like ask you questions like, what are you trying to say with this? Like, do you think this is really important? Like, if you include this, what kind of message do you think you're sending? So it's a little bit of being like the interrogator and also like the hype man for a playwright. And then on other productions, the dramaturg will kind of be like a historical consultant. So they'll do a lot of research that like helps build the world of the play or, kind of aid in like community engagement of like getting like certain groups to the theater or, trying to build out other ways of experiencing the play that aren't just coming to see it. And so, it's just like kind of being like the little gossip in the room with the playwright.
It's almost like you're a producer who actually works, if that makes sense. No, I don't know. Maybe that's throwing a little shade, but like you're a producer who has a lot more skin in the game. You're actually digging into the script and doing that day-to-day work. I've always thought of it as someone who like, prevents the audience. Like if you're watching a movie, for example, that's set in the 80s, it prevents the audience from like making comments on Reddit that are like, that car wasn't around until 95. You're like,
yeah, exactly. No, definitely. It's a lot of doing that. And like, I feel like it kind of serves as also like a liaison between the actors and like the production team as well to kind of say like, what's the world we're trying to build? And like, what's the story we're trying to tell? Like, how can like one single detail like really like throw off the whole vibe of what's going on? And so I feel like it's becoming a little less common these days to work with dramaturgs or like script supervisors in film as well. And so it's a really fun art form though. I think it definitely scratches a part of my brain that's like a little nerdy.
Yeah, it's like exactly. Nerdy is the best way to put it. Yeah. It's like your research brain meets your creative brain. Totally. I want to talk about the playwright part of things. Mm-hmm. So you wrote a play called Honey Hole in 2020. Tell me a bit about that and how it came to be.
Totally. Honey Hole is such a special play to me. I wrote it in my college adaptations class. So I went to BU, Boston University, for playwriting, and I got to study with the amazing Kirsten Greenidge, who is just like one of the best playwrights of our time, in my opinion, and also just like an incredible like teacher and practitioner. And her pedagogy model is very much like, first you have to kind of learn how to write the autobiography, so like examining parts of yourself and kind of pulling that into your creative life, and then you can work on the adaptation. So taking somebody else's words or somebody else's source material and kind of like mending, you know, your own personal artistic style, like this whole other text, and also making something like completely new. So, Honey Hole was originally my adaptation piece, and I adapted the Myth of Icarus like very loosely to the point when I turned it in, I think she was like, I don't really think that you did what you thought you were doing, but you still wrote a full length play, so I'll let you pass. But it is about a young queer beauty queen who is still experiencing the fallout of the loss of her father at a young age, living in lower middle class rural Georgia, hanging out and, you know, coming to terms with what it means to have other people know her outside of the things they know about her. So like it kind of plays on the themes of like small town living, where it's like, you know, you grow up and you feel like you know everybody, but you don't really know anybody. Like you spend all your time with these people, and yet they don't know the first thing about you or like the things that you want to do. They just know the things that you're doing. And so I really just like wanted to take that concept and play with like kind of like what it means to fly too close to the sun and discovering your own identity and like the fallout that could hold. But at the end of the day, it kind of became this play about queer joy and a little bit of fanfic of what I imagined my life could have been as like a 17-year-old that was like publicly out in small town Georgia. And so I feel like it's so funny how art can be so you and like nothing like your experience. And so I feel like it is very like much a blend of my autobiography and like something that like absolutely never happened to me.
I mean, to go back to the style of, you know, thinking the framework, I guess, of autobiography first, and then expanding that to tell adaptations or tell someone else's stories. I could not agree with that more. That is just like such a great way to teach it. Cause I don't know what they always say, right? Is, you write what you know.
Yeah. And
so write yourself first. And once you're starting to get there, then maybe you can go to other places. I don't know. Writing plays, writing scripts and stuff is awesome. And I love it, but I'm so lazy that that's why I love improv, is because it's basically like writing on the fly, and you can just move on. It's like,
totally.
You don't have to commit to it too much. You commit to a little bit. If you like it, you keep going. It's, improv is that's my thing. That's what I just love doing. The reason I brought up Honey Hole, I guess. So I mentioned you wrote it in 2020, and that was a few years ago at this point, but it was performed in Atlanta last summer, I think. So tell me a little bit about that. And a bigger question, is it normal for plays to have a shelf life that's that long? Because I feel like if I put out an album, for example, in 2020, and then I was like, I'm going to play the full album 5 years later, people be like, I don't care. You know, so tell me a little bit about, that performance and the shelf life of the play.
Totally. I just feel like being a playwright is like, it's so amazing, but then you kind of have like these 10-year long investment projects where it's like, maybe you wrote this 10 years ago and it's not going to see the light of day, like in a full performance setting for the next 10 years. And so with Honey Hole, I'm very thankful because that play has been kind of consistently produced in capacities that I've been involved in. So like in 2022, it was performed in Boston, like full production. Like I just kind of had to give them the script and then got to hang out and see them do it. And then I was like, all right, taking this back and going to rewrite it. And then I did a complete rewrite. And then I submitted it again after that to the She ATL Festival, which is a festival based out of New York, and they kind of have satellite locations all over the country for women and gender nonconforming playwrights to kind of produce their work and really bring attention to stories that don't center men specifically. And so, when I submitted it, I was kind of like, oh, like, you know, whatever. Like, I feel like also with the whole playwriting thing, it's a lot of just submitting to a million places and then you probably never hear back from any of them. So I was like, just kind of like send it out on a whim. And then I heard back and they were like, we want this to be in our Atlanta festival. And so I was like, all right, like, I guess it's time for me to like think about this more. And so on all those different processes, I've had the pleasure of working with different dramaturgs as well, which has really brought like a whole new life to the script and like really made me think about different aspects. Like in this past version, we focused a lot more on, you know, the relationships between the two women in the play, in the relationship, and less on the like mother-daughter dynamic. And we talked a lot about, you know, how do we carry grief with us like through life and processing that and kind of motivating the characters a little more. But it's always so funny because I still feel like I'm not done with it. Like it's, after doing the festival, I was offered kind of like a producing contract with them. So they will be licensing the play for other public use and handling like rights distribution and stuff along that. And so I had to file for a copyright and I literally had like this big mental breakdown when I was filing for copyright. And I was like, I just like feel so weird to like, you know, like put it on the shelf now. Like, I feel like this has kind of been my project for the past 6 years and it's different every time it gets done. And like the people that are working on it, like really influence it to a point where it's like, that feels like the version that I did over the summer, but now that's the version that everybody else is going to do. And so it's just super weird because it's like, it's not like an album like where, or like a film where it's like, okay, you produce it and then it's done. And then it's like, okay, now everyone can have a bit of this or whatever.
Yeah, well, so sorry, that's what I was about to say is it sounds like it was like a living, breathing document that every performance you would refine it and find something new. Is it that when you register a copyright or something, you can like no longer edit it or?
No, I can edit it whenever I want. I'm just like it's so, the concept of like publishing a play is like so strange to me because I am so used to that kind of like works in progress type situation. And so it's weird to know that like my work will be done by people potentially and I won't have anything to do with it. It'll just be like a piece of paper that gets handed over to someone and then they're like, we get to do what we want with this, which is my favorite part of the creative process. Like if I had my way, I would not be involved in anything.
Or like, who knows, maybe some art school in Georgia is going to put it on. Right.
Yeah.
So
and
that's kind of
like,
cool.
That's the dream, but it's so different to like, I'm working on a film right now and I'm like, oh, like when we're done shooting this film, like that's it. And that's going to like go out and like whatever will happen will happen. But like, there's no going back. Like there's no editing the script in real time. It's like we come in with the sides like prepared and then we do it and then we're wrapped for the day. So it's like totally different world.
The world of documentary is maybe the closest, but that is a thing where like you're not changing the documentary after you've released it. You might be editing it over and over again and adding stuff because the story usually keeps developing. You have to just find the end or what you think would be a good ending. But yeah, theater, it seems is totally different where like, who knows? You could always be rewriting it. You mentioned submitting the script to different, I guess, I don't even know, festivals or whatever it would be. What is that process like? Like, are you submitting it and then if they want to perform it, they let you know? Or is it like, hey, we like this and we want you to put it on and you have to cast it and you have to find, like, how does it work? Where do you draw those lines?
Totally. It's like a totally different process, like wherever you're going. So many festivals are playwright produced. So like the She Arts Festival that I did in Atlanta this summer was kind of like, we will provide you the theater space and like marketing and like, you know, lighting and sound equipment, but you have to kind of assemble your own team and like cast it, you know, find your designers, raise all the money to like rent your rehearsal spaces and pay your actors and team members. And so it really just depends. Whereas, you know, I've been a part of other festivals where it's like, oh, we're actually going to pay you to do this. And like, we're going to pay for everything else. So it really just depends on the process. I feel like a lot of like playwright centered New Works festivals are really about developing the script. And so they want you to be able to like really lock in and feel supported in like making the script into its next version for festival production. But it's something different, you know, with every place you go. And it really does just like provide you different outlooks. Like I felt like having my hands kind of in the pot as like the producer and, you know, the like project manager and also the playwright. And also I'm, you know, helping stage manage some of the rehearsals and I'm like helping do the costume design. Like that kind of stuff is so much like more rewarding in a way than just being like, okay, like we're going to take it like and do whatever, because then it's like you really get to build like the friends that I made along the way in that process are gonna be my lifelong friends. Like we talk all the time still.
So that's a good segue into what I wanted to talk about here towards the end of this segment is the DIY community, I guess, in Allston and Brighton. Like that area is like a DIY mecca, right? Like there's so many amazing bands that come out of there all the time. New bands are bubbling up all the time. Is there an equivalent there? Is the theater scene as DIY there, or do you have to like get out of Allston and Brighton to kind of get into the theater scene there? Or what's the spillover like? What's the crossover like between the DIY music scene and the DIY theater scene?
I feel like I would like to see the crossover be more, but it's definitely there. Boston is like a very regional theater city. Like I work at a regional theater and I've loved kind of getting to see that process, but there are also so many just like incredible fringe and like DIY theaters as well. The biggest challenge I feel like DIY theater or like, you know, fringe theater in Boston is kind of facing is like, there's not really any spaces. Like there's like so many incredible house show venues and like, you know, like places like the Lily Pad where it's like you can kind of rent these spaces and put your show together. But in terms of theater spaces, like a lot of the spaces are really expensive or hard to come by. And so working with a bunch of the fringe theaters in Boston, like it's so fun because it is such a community and you get to see kind of everybody's like own intersectional artistic interests. Like there's an incredible puppet theater that also does like big brass band, like music pieces. And I work at a fringe company that's devoted to new work. So we do staged readings and we host like little Sunday morning writers workshops where you get to come and meet other writers in the community. And so I definitely think it's there. Like I think fringe theater is really strong, but I feel like we're kind of fighting this financial battle of like being a little under-resourced in a city where real estate is like really hard to come by. But I have really high hopes that the fringe theater scene will come back. I think COVID kind of did a number on a lot of the theater companies and a few of them have left town, but there's just always something cool going on if you know the right places to look.
Is there like a Boston version of like a fringe fest that happens like annually, or is that not really a thing in Boston? I've been to one like a fringe theater thing in Toronto, and that's kind of the only thing I've been to. Yeah,
I don't feel like there's any that I know of that are on that large of a scale. There's like a lot of New Voices festivals that happen, but it's not like Edinburgh Fringe where it's like a whole week of just like everything going on at once. And it kind of feels like an artistic festival of sorts. It's a little bit more company based. So there's like a Queer Voices festival. Like we have a lot of 10-minute play festivals and stuff like that. But you gotta get some of those house venues to dedicate one weekend to y'all and make Allston Fringe weekend and just like put up a bunch of shit. Like be like, we're doing whatever. Puppets, brass bands, we're doing it all. I love that idea. I've been trying, like literally my goal this summer is to have like a DIY musical. Like I'm like, let's do like an old school musical and just like do it like with all of the people we know.
Yeah. And also like, there's so much music playing talent that that's a great way to cross it over. I mean, I think that would be so sick. If you guys put one up, I'll go up there and watch it. I think
you'll have to come hang out.
Hell yeah. Of course I would. Okay. Last question. It'll be kind of a big question, but it's the last question as we go to break. So you mentioned queer identity in a small town in the South, right? And I can imagine that is sort of, it was tough. I can only imagine, because you did mention pure joy, but I'm sure there was a lot of hesitation and a lot of forces working against you. So what kind of advice would you give to people who are emerging theater artists, emerging playwrights, but who are kind of facing a similar thing where they're trying to find a voice in a place in the world where maybe their local community is sort of pushing against them?
Totally. I mean, it's such a complicated question.
I know. I said it was going to be a big one. I said it was going to be a big one.
I think for me, like, finding your community, like, I think the biggest, I don't know. I always like told myself this lie growing up. That's like, you like have to go to like a big city or whatever. And that's like a big thing that like Honey Hole kind of grapples with is, you know, like, where do you go to be yourself? Like, can you be yourself where you are? And I think spending the summer in Atlanta this year, I just had the most amazing time meeting so many queer people that love the South and are like so thankful to live in a place that's so community centric. And I don't think it's an easy place to be queer or to be trans. Like, I think obviously there's a lot working against you politically, but the community that I found was so tight knit and so protective of each other, but also so rooted and kind of just like, like, fuck it, we just have to be ourselves. Like, you're gonna find your own struggles. Like, I mean, I feel like sometimes it's like hard, even in the Northeast, you know, where you would think it's like more politically liberal, but it's like, you're still gonna find people that are bigoted in all shapes and forms. So it's kind of like, I guess my advice would be like, you just gotta do you, and you gotta find the people that will like stand in your corner. And I think chosen family is just as real as blood family or, you know, family by birth or whatever. But I think that there's just something so beautiful about the way that queer Southerners have built community. And I every time somebody's like, oh, like, you must have been from Georgia, that's so hard. I'm like, I literally knew so many queer people growing up and they were just doing their thing. It might not look the same as like being queer in Boston, but being queer in Boston doesn't look the same as being queer in California or New York or, you know, Wyoming or wherever. And I think it's a little bit, I don't know, I'm always like, it's queer erasure to say there aren't queer people in the South because they're everywhere and they have so every challenging thing has an equal like aspect of love to it, I think, as well. And so I am very proud to be queer and from the South, even though it was hard. And I feel like I witnessed a lot of, you know, hatred, but I feel like I've witnessed hatred in other forms, like here as well. So it's just like, I don't know, you just got to do you is kind of how I feel, which maybe that's not super like, I don't know, super in tune, but
no, I think that's great advice. Do you find your community and like build what you want to build, you know,
yeah.
And at least that's what it sounds like you're saying. I agree with you though. The thing you said where, you know, it's the Northeast has that type of hate as well. I mean, I lived in New York for a long time and you go outside of New York. Actually, for one, we had a trip with some friends. We went to Fire Island and the neighbor and a lot of those people on those boats had big old Trump flags. And it was like,
right.
Read the room, man. Read the neighborhood. Like, but it was, you know, it's always going to be there wherever you're going to be. So do you and kind of build your own thing, right? I agree with that. Let's take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to get to your mixtape. All right, we are back with the mixtape. So, Erin, you told me this is an eclectic one. The closer is very off the beaten path, but before we'll get there. We'll get there. Why don't you tell the people? Was there a theme to this, or how did you come up with? What was it? What were we going? What were you thinking about when you put this together?
I am like pretty famously a overkill playlist maker. I making a playlist that was only 6 songs, like literally was so hard. 'Cause usually they're like 14 hours and I just like play them in the background, do whatever. And I feel like with this one, I tried to be very intentional. So I feel like my theme is storytelling, like storytellers that have inspired me over the years. And I feel like songs that have kind of related to different aspects of my last 6-year trajectory in playwriting and in art making. And so just excited to share them with you.
Amazing. I'm excited to hear about them. The first one is a song called Early Morning Blues, and it is by Sweet Petunia. Sweet Petunia making their second appearance on a J-Card mixtape, so that's pretty cool. Tell me a little bit about why you picked this one.
This song is just like probably one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. I feel like the first time I heard it, I was walking home from somebody's house in the morning and I was like feeling love for the first time. And I was just like, remember listening, it was like 6 a.m. and being like, this is a perfect song. This is a perfect story. Like, this is literally what love feels like. And I feel like Sweet Petunia is just kind of going back to what we were saying about community in Boston. Sweet Petunia are just such cornerstones. Maddie and Marie are 2 of the most incredible like community members in the DIY scene, in my opinion, as well as being my good friend. So maybe I'm a little biased, but
so you know the Sweet Petunia folks.
Our paths have crossed, and I just think that their personal artistic mission, as well as the music that they create, is so amazing to me. And the lyrics just the music and the lyrics just make this track so cinematic that I think if you just close your eyes and listen to it, it's literally like the equivalent of watching a little coming of age movie to me.
And so you have seen them live, obviously. Have you seen them perform this track live?
I have. I had the pleasure of seeing them perform this at, I think, one of the Passim Campfire festivals that I worked. They are just like, they're a frequenter of the Campfire Festival, and I hope it stays that way. But they are both just so kind. And I remember when they played the song, I was like, oh my God. It was like a true eureka moment for me. Just feeling, you can feel like the air kind of, you know, when people are like, oh, you can feel the air sucked out of the room. I'm like that, but like in a positive way. Like everyone just locked in. It was like very utopian performative experience to just see everyone feel the love that they were trying to convey.
Love that. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is Early Morning Blues by Sweet Petunia.
A moment with your hair, a crazy mess, here in perfect slumber.
Next up, we have Wednesday with their song Chosen to Deserve. Wednesday, like pioneers of this alternative type thing. But tell me a bit about why you picked this one.
Wednesday is probably my favorite band. I feel like they kind of perfectly encompass what my childhood was like and what it was like to grow up in the South. And this song especially has just such an early 2000s country twang to it. I remember for hearing it for the first time and like getting this very visceral sense memory of being in my grandma's like 2008 Cube car on the way home from church. Like just like driving through like a Sonic drive-through and having like a grilled cheese on a Sunday is kind of like what this song feels like to me. And so when I think a lot about, you know, storytelling, I think Carly Hartzman has this kind of brilliant quote. I don't know. I'm going to like totally chop this quote, but like basically she likes to say that every Wednesday song is a quilt of some kind. And like, I remember reading something at one point, what that meant to her was basically like, there are parts of songs that happened and then there are parts of songs that are imagined. And I just like to pick up all the pieces and, you know, everything is nonlinear to me in terms of writing music. It's about curating a vibe. And I feel like with my own playwriting, everything I ever write has something to do with me. Like it might not be completely cohesive. Like I could be pulling something from 2006 to 2016 to, you know, whatever, and like making it one scene that takes place in the current day. But I think it's really beautiful how artists will incorporate their autobiography and make it a little bit of a lie. I'm like, I love when there's an exaggeration.
Yeah, of course. It goes back to the professor you were talking about, right? So that's actually so interesting to hear that that sort of framework and mentality continues on throughout the writing. Do you listen to music when you write, or is it case by case?
I do. I like to make I feel like my writing process is very much like I get an image in my head. Like I recently was working on a play with a friend where we were staring out of a window and we watched this hawk eat this like full rat and carry it up to like this telephone wire.
Hey, rat saw God.
I know, literally. And so I was like, wait, that's like such a crazy image. Like, let's make a whole playlist about this right now. And we just like sat down and we were like, let's talk about all the songs that like made us feel like evoked a feeling similar to like what we just experienced. And then we kind of did like our own free writing exercise, just listening to it. And it ended up like being, I feel like music is just such a good way to build a world. Like before you even know what you want to say, like just being able to feel what you want to say is really important.
100%. I think Edgar Wright does a lot of stuff in his movies where like he starts with a song and builds from there.
Yeah.
But hey, music is powerful. That's why the show exists. Let's listen to a little bit of Chosen to Deserve by Wednesday.
I'm the girl that you chosen to deserve.
Next up, we got Julia Jacklin with the song Pressure to Party. Tell me a little bit about this one.
This song was probably like my top song on streaming for like 4 years in a row. Like literally all through college, I would literally listen to the song every day. And I feel like it just is so dissonant. Like it's a very like unassuming melody that's a little dancey and feels very like bedroom poppy. But I think the dissonance of what the song is actually about is just like very emblematic of how that the last few years of my life have felt. Like, you know, like building community is really hard and like writing is really hard. And I think when you're in an art school setting of some form or fashion, you get to spend a lot of time with a cohort. But this idea of like, you know, breaking up, whether it's like with your college friends or, you know, your routine or, you know, a style of writing that you thought or a piece that you thought you were going to be working on forever. It's just so real. And I feel like I often sit at my desk and like think about this song and get really introspective about, you know, the creative process kind of being something that you have to do a lot on your own, but like finding new collaborators is so important. And like building that community is so important, even when it's really hard and it's like, you don't always feel like you fit in or like that you share a similar artistic style with other people. So I love that song.
It's important, but it's hard as hell to find those collaborators who you're like in lockstep with, you know what I mean? Because like 99% of the time in any collaborative relationship, it defaults to one person really pulling more, you know what I mean? So whenever you find that relationship where like both parties are just like, it's like ping pong back and forth, that's like chef's kiss. Amazing. Beautiful. Like the best collaborative feeling in the world, in my opinion. I like how you pick, a lot of the songs you've picked are like fast, sad songs. That's
kind of my aesthetic, I feel like.
Same. It's like, I love, just when you can bop along to it and zone out. And then if you decide to listen, you're like, oh shit. Like, whoa, they're saying some real shit here.
Yeah. You know? But I feel like that's like very much the kind of, that's a very similar energy to the work that I write. Like I was thinking, I was writing little, you know, field notes as I was listening to these songs earlier today. And a playwright that I love so much is Annie Baker, who's like very rooted in like realism, but also like writes plays about aliens or like, you know, whatever. And so it's very, the sadness of the human reality, but also like the way that joy kind of exists coincidingly. Like you gotta keep on rocking.
It's like the most honest way to write, honestly, because everything is a balance. It's very rare, right? That something is all in one bucket. You're always going to have a complexity of emotion happening. So it's very cool. Enough of me rambling about it. Let's listen to Pressure to Party by Julia Jacklin.
Heart where you belong. Pressure to come up with conversation makes it very fine with my isolation. I know I've looked my
Next up, the song is Boyish. It's by Japanese Breakfast. Tell me a bit about this one. Do you remember the first time you ever heard this one?
I like really don't, but I feel like I listened to it a lot getting out of my most recent relationship that ended. And I just feel like the song is just, it's true poetry. Like it's so surreal and raw. And it's just so much of my creative time is spent kind of daydreaming about like the way things could have gone, or like the way things are going, or things I wanted to say, or like things I wish I had done. Like it's so wistful, while also being like very heartbreaking and angry and just like assertive. Like there's like so many good lines in this song that are just I think about them all the time.
Japanese Breakfast, that's Michelle Zauner, I think is her name, right? And I believe she wrote a book that was like a really popular book.
Yes.
Did you read it? Do you know anything about that?
I did. Crying in H Mart.
Crying in H Mart, yeah, that's what it is.
It's a brilliant book. It's a lot about her, confronting grief around like her mother's passing and just, I don't know. You have to read it for yourself. It's like honestly one of the best going back to an autobiography, one of the best autobiographies in my opinion. And it's a very brilliant examination of just continuing to live every day, and also kind of thinking about the things you wish you could have said, and confronting the past, and also having to move forward and continue living your life. So
it's very cool that she can write in the style of songs, but then also write, these longer form things, novels, I guess. And also I gotta say, this is why I love doing this show, is because it's like in improv, there's a form called a herald. And this is like sort of like every show is like that. Eventually you just start talking, and eventually the common thread just emerges. And in this case, it's autobiographies, and that's wild. Love it. Let's listen to a little bit of Boyish by Japanese Breakfast.
So here we are, we're just two losers. I want you and you.
We got two more left. This one is called Percolator, and it is by Charlie Bliss. Tell me a little bit about Percolator.
this song just like rocks. Like
It really does.
Like Charlie Bliss is honestly, I think, one of the most underrated bands right now. They're so cool. I feel like so much of my music taste has been inspired by them. Like I love kind of a punky Riot Girl bedroom. Like I love Le Tigre and Bikini Kill. Those are like two of my favorite. I was like fighting, like deleting them off my J card playlist. So, but I love a song that you can just kind of rock out to and just let it all go. And I feel like this song it just is like what being cool feels like. Like it's a very 2013, I'm the cool girl and I'm here to rock it.
Well, you mentioned Bikini Kill. So Kathleen Hanna, right, is a Bikini Kill person, the main person. Yeah. There's a documentary called The Punk Singer that is about Kathleen Hanna that is just came to mind from you talking about her. It's
such a good documentary. I was in a play right before COVID happened that I feel like it was low-key my queer awakening. Like I just like came out after it happened and I was like, I'm gay. And everyone was like, we know because you were obsessed with the show. But I got to play kind of like a Kathleen Hanna, like self-insert, in a band called Dyke Central, which is, I have the little drum shield in my background right now. But this Percolator was on the playlist that the creative team had kind of assembled for that. And I just became so hyper fixated. I would like warm up to it every day, and I would like run at the gym and be like, I'm that bitch. Like,
so that's actually interesting because it makes me think, like, when there's a show that say you're performing in a show, do you listen to certain songs to get yourself in the mindset, depending on what show it is? Like, if, maybe for that one, it would be something like Charlie Bliss, or for something like Honey Hole, maybe there's a whole different type of mindset you want to get in. Do you have like these pre-show playlists?
I do. I always have a playlist. If you look me up, you can find all of my playlists that I've made for different things I've worked on. They all have like a general aesthetic. Like, I feel like I co-wrote a play with my best friend in college as like our thesis, called The Chariot Reversed, which was kind of about like becoming obsessed with like a DIY like musician, and the fanfic fantasy of like meeting them at your favorite coffee shop and like pretending like you don't know who they are. And so that had a lot of like Muna on it, and like very like summer of 2022 music. But I just, like I was saying, like, it's so fun to curate a vibe. And I feel like with every show I've ever acted in, or the movies I've worked on, like, music has kind of been such a key part of getting me into the energetic spirit of the play. And I feel like building a character is really easy when you can feel how energy kind of moves through them.
Yeah, if you know what they're listening to, it gives you a good baseline on who they are. Let's listen to a little bit of Charlie Bliss. The song is Percolator.
Lighting slurs on the ceiling. Come on, baby, you're bleeding. I'm gonna die in a getaway car. I have a drive.
And finally, the closer. I teased this one at the beginning of this segment. It's a classic. It's Jump by Van Halen. Why did you pick this one, and why did you make it the closer?
It is just my like message to the world. I feel like this was one of the first songs I ever remember hearing. My dad is like Van Halen #1 fan. Like, on the Facebook groups, on the Reddit threads, he's seen Van Halen so many times in his life. I didn't know that music outside of like 80s rock existed until I was 15. And so there's like a very early on photo of me singing this at karaoke at Myrtle Beach on a family vacation. And something my dad kind of always says to me is like, you just have to like make like a duck and let it roll off of you. Like, life is going to be really hard, and you just have to kind of take the punches as they come, roll with the punches, is what he always says to me when I'm having a bad day. And I feel like that's just a part of the artistic process that people are kind of, like, we always want to talk about like how fun it is to make art, but like rejection is such a real feeling. And like working with, one of the earliest lessons I feel like I remember learning is like, not everyone is going to like what I have to say or agree with what I have to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, because it's inauthentic to not. And so I feel like this song is just my message to the world. That's like, you just have to roll with the punches and like keep on rocking, and things will get hard, but you can always jump around and like have a good time and party with your pals. And so I had to put this on there because I feel like it really has informed a lot of my outlook on life and the creative process, but also just the day to day. So
yeah. I mean, hey, you're right. Rejection is a huge part of art and of creative worlds. The way that I think about it is like, if there was rejection involved, if someone was rejecting the idea or whatever, then it probably wouldn't have been a good fit anyways, because they didn't want to do it. So why would you want to work with them? You got to find the people who you want to work with or whatever. Water off a duck's back, right? Let's listen to Jump by Van Halen. And that was it. That is the mixtape. This is a little space we leave for honorable mentions. I know you had one.
Yes.
Do you remember what it is, or do you want me to tell you it?
I think I remember. It was Aubergine by Lady Lamb. That Lady Lamb album, Ripely Pine, is top 5 greatest albums for me. So had to bring it in here.
Tell me a bit about Lady Lamb. What I don't think I've ever heard of them.
Oh my gosh, they're incredible. I actually like feel like this is my biggest problem as a music fan, which is that I know very little about the musicians whose music I consume.
Well, when did you, I guess, first get introduced to them?
I feel like this was an album that I heard, I think it came out in like 2016 or 2018. And I remember hearing it around that era of my life. And it's just been an album that this is what I put on to listen to like while I'm working, like on anything. And I feel like the storytelling arc of this album is just insane. And it's my dream to hear it live one day. Like, I feel like Lady Lamb doesn't play that many shows recently. And so this is one of those, like, when you were like, oh, like if I played like an album all the way through like 10 years after I wrote it, like no one would care. This is an album that I would like pay good money to go see somebody play 10 years later. So
hey, Lady Lamb, you hear that? You got to get the tour going again. Get the tour going again. I
think that she actually did just play this on tour like this past year, and I completely like missed the show or something. I don't remember what happened, but my partner was like, Lady Lamb's playing Rightfully Fine. Like, do you want to go? And I'm like, I'm literally not in town, like, to see this happen. This is the worst day of my life.
All right. Well, you hear that one, Lady Lamb? That means you got to do it again. One show, one night only in at that same place that does puppets and big band. That's where you got to go. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to play a game and then we will get the hell out of here. All right. We are back with the game. And today the game, it's a classic. It's called One for the Road. For those who may not know, this is where you will tell us one thing everybody should blank or whatever. I still need to figure out a better way to intro that, but we'll start with the first one. One food everyone should try. So Erin, what is one food everyone should try and why?
Okay, this is going to be controversial because I feel like whenever I describe this to somebody, they're kind of like grossed out by it. But I do feel like an old school Southern ambrosia is something everyone, or like a Jell-O salad, like that's something everyone should try at least once because it's super weird. Like I'm talking like Cool Whip, like lime Jell-O and like the clementine. You're nodding your head. Like I feel like you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but you need to explain it to the listeners because you're right. It is a very, very divisive thing. My girlfriend's family, they have that at Thanksgiving and, it's divisive. I like it, but there's people who don't. It's
divisive. Well, I grew up going to like tea houses as a kid because that's like something that my grandma was like really passionate about. And every St. Patrick's, I feel like I'm thinking about this because it's about to be St. Patrick's Day, but it's like Cool Whip and like chunks of pineapple and like lime Jell-O, and I like when they put the clementine slices.
Yeah, the little clementine slices.
And the cherries. The cherries are important.
Grapes, I believe, sometimes.
Grapes. I'm not that up on the grapes, but I do. And then you mix it with Cool Whip, so it's like a crazy it's like kind of a fluffy texture, and you freeze it, and then you eat it when it's like frozen, and it is a great treat.
Okay, the frozen part, I didn't know. That makes it even better. Because, like, the problem is, if it is at, like, room temp, it's like, it's okay, it's fine.
It's fine. It's
cold,
fine.
You gotta have that shit cold.
But if it's cold, it's kind of like a weird, like, fluffy... It's like eating, like, a whipped cream type of dessert. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a trust the process experience. But I remember when they would always serve them at the tea house that I grew up going to, it would be, like, little tiny, like, they're like Jell-O shot cups or like condiment cups or whatever. And they would be like kind of frozen. So when you would eat it, it would like melt in your mouth. And it was awesome.
When you've said tea house a couple times, what is that? What is a tea house? Is that something I don't know? Or is that just like a version of a coffee shop that serves tea?
It's like, I feel like they used to be such a big thing in like the area of Georgia I grew up in, but like, it's like you wear a big hat and you dress up and it's like a tea parlor. And you go and you like, they serve you like high tea, but it's like not expensive. Like it's like chicken salad sandwiches and ambrosia and like hot tea.
That is like, yeah, very, like old school Southern type thing. Yeah. That's, I love it. You know what? I'm in Richmond, Virginia, so I'm sure we got that somewhere around here.
I think my cousin actually has a tea shop in the Richmond area, so I will send it to you.
After this, let's offline. I got to know what it is.
Yeah.
I might even know what it is, but we'll talk about it after. Okay, one place everyone should visit.
I think that one place everyone should visit is the Saguenay National Park in Canada. I went a few years ago in the summer, and it is like the most beautiful place in the world. It's like a big fjord. If you drive like through the national park, it's like in the Quebec province. There's literally a place that like beluga whales migrated and they mated, and then the ice age came or something like that. And then they couldn't get out. So then they started just like breeding there. And I guess beluga whales are kind of a animal that if they breed a place, they just live there forever. So they literally have like a beluga whale sanctuary and you can swim with them. Like, it is the craziest place and it is so beautiful. And I think everyone should go visit if you live nearby.
I'm looking at pictures of it right now and it looks beautiful. It's Saguenay. Saguenay Fjord National Park. Yeah, it looks beautiful. And when you're swimming with these whales, you're like in a controlled, like a pool or something, right? You're not just, you're going in the cold in a bay.
It's like a cold, like a fjord. I actually have no idea if that's like even legal. So like maybe I'm really setting myself up for something bad. But like when we went, you like hike down and then there's like a big observatory tower and you can like watch them and you can hear them. And it's like the most beautiful soundscape. And you can climb down these rocks and there's a beach. And I guess in the summer, like people just like don't really care and you can get in and like swim with them. Like they're out farther in the deeper water, but when you're under the water, you can like hear them still. It's the coolest feeling in the world. And you can see them like surfacing in the distance. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's wild. We had a guest last season, Emily Milgram from Las Nubes. And, she works a lot in like soundscapes and music and stuff like that. And one film that they were scoring or something or capturing sound for, or maybe it was just some art thing that they were doing. They were capturing this is in South Florida. So they were in the Everglades capturing sounds of the Everglades, and they were with some scientists or something, and they like heard this sound that like just sounded like beautiful, like this sort of like, I don't know what it was, some sort of crystally, like chimey, like just some ethereal sound. And they were like, whoa, this is crazy. And they gave the headphones to the scientist. Hey, listen to this, check this out. And they go, oh yeah, that's a manatee fart.
That's so iconic.
So the manatee fart, that was the highlight of that one. One last thing. One thing everyone should do when they are feeling stuck.
Okay. Another controversial take, but I do feel like whenever I'm feeling stuck, I do just give up. And I'm like, maybe the reason I'm feeling stuck right now is because like I'm trying to make this something that it's not. And I feel like maybe I need to have a little bit more trust in myself to like, you know, let whatever's going to happen. So I feel like whenever I'm feeling stuck, I'm like, let me just like stop working on this. Let me go like be a person. Let me take a walk. Like, let me eat a sandwich or like watch TV or just give up. What if I just gave up? What if I stopped making it so hard?
So yeah, temporarily give up.
No, not give up forever. Giving up forever, like what's the point of even like struggling to feel stuck then? Because that's not worth it. But I do feel like maybe taking a break is better. But I think when you're feeling stuck, maybe just think like, am I forcing this? Like, am I forcing this to be the thing I think it should be? Or am I like letting this be what it is? And so I think just like trusting yourself and letting specifically like the art or like the day like take you where it's going to take you. Like it can bring you a sense of peace, or at least in the past, it's brought me a sense of peace to just know like, okay, like I need to have a little bit more surrender to the situation at hand. Like I'm being a little bit of a control freak right now, and that's not really helping anyone. So
yes. Been there with you for sure. That is something I am always doing, and trying to get better at as well, you know, where it's like, hey, let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Let it do its thing. Like a Charlie Bliss type thing. Let it percolate.
Yeah, exactly. It'll all come to be what it is what I like to say every day.
Hell yeah. Erin, let the people know where they can find you, what you've got coming up. Keep in mind, this releases April 30th. So
Okay.
where can they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Erin.Victoria, my middle name. It is kind of just my personal account, but sometimes I do post things that I'm doing professionally there. I don't really like to separate the personal and the professional. I know a lot of people find that controversial or whatever, but I just am who I am. So you can follow along to just see my daily life too, if you would like. But April 30th, I will be still working on a movie. I'm currently working on a movie called Stranger Danger, where I'm acting. I'm making my return to acting for the first time since 2021. And I'm just doing it. I'm just letting it happen. It's a 1960s inspired horror black and white movie about a housewife and a knife salesman. And I'm making it with a bunch of my friends down on Cape Cod. It's written by my friend Brett and directed by him as well, Brett Melkin. So you can follow Stranger Danger the movie if you want to see me take over our Instagram, because I like to hack it and post behind the scenes content when I'm not supposed to. And my play will be available for licensing, hopefully by then, if not soon after then. So if you or anyone you know want to do a play called Honey Hole, you can contact She Arts organization and they should be able to help you.
Amazing. Love it. And we will put a link for sure to the film's Instagram in the description. So listeners, viewers, make sure to check that out. I love a little DIY film. That is the coolest thing in the world.
There's something really beautiful about $20 in a dream and a year and a half of work.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And, you know, I always say, like, if a friend of mine makes something, I will watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you can, but you know, there can be here's a great example. Like Oscars just happened, so it's on my mind, but like one battle after another, right? I really wanted to see that movie, but I just never did. 'Cause it's like, whatever. But then my friend could go out and post a YouTube video where they like, you know, went and, watch the soccer game or something, and I'll be like, okay, I'll watch it. I don't care about the production quality. I don't care about it. Like, I don't know. It's just cooler because it's connected to me, you know. So that's how I feel.
No, it's awesome.
Viewers, listeners, look, talking about DIY stuff. We make these little tapes. Here they are. Here's one of them. If you're viewing, if you're listening, you can't see it, but trust me, it's there. If you want to sign up and be part of the Tape Club, you can do so at tapeclub.substack.com. For $5 a month, you can sign up, and then you'll get a quarterly shipment of cassette tapes. This one is our March 2026 compilation, and we do them every quarter. So you'll get a compilation and then some other loosies, some good stuff. And you'll also get a newsletter. You'll get this podcast. You get a bunch of stuff. It's a great thing to do. Erin, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It was a blast. I had an amazing time. I want to give a shout out to Olivia Stonier, our associate producer, and Jamie Halliday, who helps with booking. Listeners and viewers, thank you for listening and viewing, and I will see you next time. Peace. The J-Card podcast is a fully independent production. It is made possible by listeners and viewers just like you. So if you want to support us, tapeclub.substack.com is the place to go.